All right, a roundtable conversation tonight. There's a lot of stuff going on.
The Dan York State of Mind program is brought to you in part by Lookout Rhode Island and Takeo Comfort Solutions.
All right, we got one tie in the studio this evening. McGowan is slacking, but I think he had an agreement with Nesi. Of course, I never get involved in this stuff because we're casual here. My goal is to be outdressed on every particular program. How's everybody? Good.
You're succeeding.
And it's working.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, something's working on this show.
You got a goal.
Last night I opened up the show with a mint in my mouth, almost coughed up half a lung. And oh, by the way, these guys aren't on yet. You're not on yet. Welcome in, Dan York State of Mind. And as you can see, it's Friday night programs are always recorded on Thursday, and they're midday. So Donald Trump had a press conference yesterday, at least it was scheduled when we were recording this program, and if all heck breaks loose on Friday, we try to catch up to it on Monday. But it also gives us a chance to kind of forget the rundown and tackle X number of subject matters, depending on who is in the House. And it's always great to be in-house, literally, here at the, is it Catamount or Catamount facility? I only say Catamount.
We just say the Big Dozen.
I think the Big Dozen. We're all in the same building. Here's the first headline, and then we'll introduce our guests. This is interesting. Providence Police Union opposes profiling ordinance, and Dan McGowan is a senior guy in media, period, on the beat when it comes to the city of Providence. Do we want to show him? Do we want to come back to us? Is it stuck?
Ted's slightly older, to be clear.
Oh yeah,
I'm a senior citizen in media now.
Yeah, but no, I'm talking about work product and the coverage of the city of Providence. Nobody in the media does it better, and
Thank you.
You kind of own that. And I'm just trying to puff you up because you're tireless. Because you don't.
I'm
Did you guys have a deal?
It is true. There was an agreement.
I sold you out. I mean, Nesi was flapping about this before he came on, and
Yeah, there was an agreement that no ties on Dan York, but I have to do more TV later and didn't feel like undoing my tie, and he found out in the hallway.
At least it's down here.
It's down.
Yeah,
all right. Yeah, I'm like, look like a mobster at this point. All right.
Anyway, listen. There you go, a little Crime Town flavor.
Get Tim White up here.
This is actually pretty provocative. It's not getting enough attention, other than your good reporting on it, that there is a real clampdown on how police can go about their business in the city of Providence. Talk to me about it.
Yeah, and you're totally right. This is flying way under the radar. In fact, I talked to the Allures administration this week, and they said they've gotten about 30 phone calls in total over the last month on this ordinance. This is a very high-profile thing that lots of activists are showing up at City Hall and really advocating for. Basically, what it is a profiling ordinance, but it's very much flying under the radar for voters in the city. The basic idea is, and it's sort of been pitched as a way to crack down on the disparity in racial profiling in traffic stops. That's how it was sort of initially pitched. That we know that Black and Hispanic people all across the country are pulled over more than white people. Let's try to find a way to report out, figure out why, and move forward. Thing is, this ordinance is incredibly far-reaching, and it has all kinds of language ranging from sanctuary city talk about what police can and can't do with immigration, with federal immigration officers. It describes how the police department should handle its gang database, which is a really important intelligence unit or thing.
Is it common? And Ted, jump in if you want. Is it common to have a prescription for any police department to notify mommy and daddy if Johnny is involved in a gang?
No, and
has been identified as being involved in a gang?
Right. This is definitely uncommon. I mean, gang lists all across the country are, and certainly people can criticize them and say, too often people might get on a list that they don't belong on, things like that. But these are generally considered sort of private. It's not like we can put in a public records request. Right, it's police intel, exactly. This does change a little bit about that. Now, if you're under the age of 18, you can be notified. You can request to be taken off that list. There's a 9-member sort of community panel called PERA, the Providence External Review Authority,
which has been around for a while.
For a long time, but very
really.
Really hasn't done anything for several years. That you can appeal your name on that gang list to them. So yeah, I mean it's a pretty far-reaching. Does it change day-to-day life for cops? I think it makes them have to report out a little more data on when they pull people over.
You can't ask a youngster for his identification more than once.
Yeah, makes it harder.
What happens if another? It's like Officer McGowan asked for the ID, and then Officer Nesi comes in and says, "Hey, listen, just following up. Can I see your ID?"
It does. One thing I'll say about
what's the purpose of this?
One thing I'll say about the ordinance that we're taping on a Thursday will likely get first passage by the City Council tonight. I don't see any opposition. It may go unanimously. It's been sort of watered down in a way that a lot of things that were initially included in it are not going to be. Officers can always find ways around some of the provisions in this ordinance, which is before it was a lot more, the initial ordinance suggested that people could be fined or fired for not following the proposal.
Yeah, but and Ted, I'd like your take on this. If an officer can work his way around an ordinance, wait a second. What's the purpose of the ordinance? It's either compliance or non-compliance. It's either consensus by all parties that this moves law enforcement and community relations forward, or it doesn't, right?
Sometimes the purpose is just to send a message. And I think based on the amount of blasts we're getting from the City Council about this, the way some of the members of the City Council are speaking out about it a lot, I think they want to show they're taking action aggressively, as we've had all these controversies the last couple of years in different parts of the country about police interactions with minority communities. It's interesting because Senator Whitehouse, I remember saying to me a couple years ago when a lot of this was going on in Ferguson and everything, thinking back to his days as AG and U.S. Attorney, said he was proud of the Providence Police because he thought they could teach a lot to other police in other jurisdictions about how to handle these issues correctly. He'd always found from his days in law enforcement that. So it's interesting to see them now under the microscope too. But again, it also, frankly, it reminds me of the fact that how little City Hall coverage we have anymore other than Dan, because I think you guys are pointing out here, there's quite a debate to be had, and there's a lot of issues to be looked at, and I would not say it's something probably a lot of Providence residents are really aware of to any significant degree.
By May 1st, you will likely have a major ordinance. Now, it won't go into effect until 2018, but I would say by May 1st, you will probably have 2 votes in the mayor, or probably a press conference and ceremony this signed into law, and a major change in the Providence Police Department. Just how do they do day-to-day work?
Well, I think it requires more coverage, first reading or not, and so we're going to see if we can't cover that a little bit more next week. There's a smoking ordinance that is about ready to be thumbs up here, right?
Yeah, same thing. Kind of snuck in while the eyes were on the Community Safety Act ordinance.
Dan actually emailed us in the newsroom, surprised. He said, "It looks like this is moving. Like, make some room in the news tonight."
Right.
And Dan usually knows everything that's about to happen in City Hall, so it must have been a surprise.
Had no idea that this was. I knew it was on the agenda. I assumed it was just going to get pushed off because this thing's been proposed. I think Mayor Palino's been on your show probably talking about it. The gist of it is it's been a little bit watered down to basically the area right around Kennedy Plaza. From City Hall, Kennedy Plaza, Burnside Park, all of that area, no smoking. Passed the ordinance committee 4-1 with support from several people who have been against it before. So again, looks like it's on track to passage. Now something could change.
First offense is a warning. Second is a $50 fine.
Yes, that's right. And then everyone thereafter.
Well, the other thing is, Dan, when was the last time we had a Republican city council member in Providence?
Yeah, 1986 was the last one.
So it's been a one-party city for basically my entire life.
Literally
Dan's entire life, reminding me that I'm older. But and just a small amount of yours. But jokes aside,
I always think it's funny when a guy, are you barely 30?
I'm 32.
He's always just 32, starts acting like he's old.
I try to keep the young shtick going.
Dan keeps it going.
Both
he
young
thinks he can
enough
get
to
away
be my sons, by the way.
And you'd be proud to have us. And my point just being that having no actual political party opposition in the city for literally decades, there is a Republican city committee, but you can't say they're very active. Yeah. So you have, for reporters, we look, R versus D is our first thought for gaming out stuff. And when there's no one, it's all inside the council, Democrat versus Democrat. I truly think that actually leads to less public engagement and debates.
I think it's 100% right. I mean, you don't see the fighting that happens in City Hall tends to be leadership of the city council versus the dissident. There's always a handful that are against the leadership for whatever reason, mostly because they didn't vote for them. And usually the fights happen there. But in big issues like this, because there's not a lot of coverage that goes into it, you don't see pushback.
There's not a lot of coverage for the recall election that's coming up.
No.
May 2nd.
May 2nd, a guy who's, pretty jammed up ought to be voted out. The irony might be, will he be?
In that ward, it's a major.
It's a conversation.
That's a big thing going on in that neighborhood.
So
I think we'll see
Kevin
1,000
Jackson
votes.
most likely is exiting stage left. Do you think?
It would be very difficult for him to overcome. I mean, he's not even campaigning.
And by the way, has the city council president, since we're talking about Providence, has Louis Aponte cleared up his $40,000+ in fines to
He
the Board
has
of
not,
Elections?
as of Thursday.
Yet he's making multi-million-dollar decisions every doggone day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Only in Providence.
It is. It makes it a tough thing. I think right now, what you're saying, the Mayor Lors is going to deliver his budget, his third budget, on Wednesday, and what you're seeing right now in City Hall is this situation where every time something gets going, the City Council, you get the questions about the City Council President, you get the questions about Kevin Jackson, fair, legitimate questions. I'm the one asking them often. It's a big distraction in City Hall right now.
Yeah. All right.
And at the State House.
We come back, big distractions on the state level too. That computer brain just ain't working yet. Be right back.
Vendor Deloitte produced for us a defective system. The system they gave us was defective, Eric would say broken, and didn't work. We didn't get what we paid for. We paid them a lot of money. We didn't get what we paid for. And they represented to us that it was in much better shape than in fact it was.
Then in fact it was. Yes.
That's
Yes.
what the governor says, and Deloitte's not fighting back very hard on that point.
Right, that was February, and we had a headline this week indicating that the Justice Department is in the House asking a lot of questions. I think two things are disturbing about that. One, that they are. Two, that we had to find out through a journal story, or maybe, on this one. By the way, did you know about this? Or
I did not. Nope. Full credit to Kathy Gregg who got the
clipped
tip on
this
that one. Yeah.
Why, if the feds are looking into operations in a very controversial technical debacle of $364 million, would the Romano administration not try to get in front of that on their own and control this conversation or be transparent about it?
I don't know. I suppose when you have bad news, and I think they've been flailing on UHIP for a long time. So I guess maybe not a surprise if they once again were didn't game out that this was going to get out no matter what, and should have. I always would prefer if they just tell us when something like that is happening. I'm kind of two minds about this story so far. On the one hand, anytime the U.S. Attorney's Office is seeking documents, that matters. That's a big deal. You wonder what they're interested in. I believe, according to the governor's office, over $200 million has gone to Deloitte so far of the 364, and Deloitte is named specifically, and its subcontractors in the investigative demands. So certainly, even the governors, think of what the governor just said there. They represented to us, she's a lawyer, they represented to us it was in better shape than it was. Well, did they do so in invoices? Were those invoices provided to the feds for reimbursement? There's a lot of ways you could see this going, though we really don't know much. On the other hand, in my last 7 years covering Rhode Island politics, I've seen repeatedly us all get excited about, oh my gosh, there's an investigation into this big local scandal, and it just peters out. The landfill, nothing happened with that. Both 38 Studios investigations, federal and state, no charges came out of that. The SEC at 38 Studios ended up close to a slap on the wrist. So, people see these headlines. I think they expect a parade of people to be frog marched out of the State House, and we seem to keep seeing that they find this was bad, but no criminal wrongdoing. I'm not saying that's the case, but I just think people should temper what they expect at the moment.
Yeah, you have a thought on that?
I totally agree with Ted. I mean, I think this is one of those things where you want to know why that they didn't just call a press conference to say that the Department of Justice is investigating. Is exactly that people get all worked up. When is the governor going to be in handcuffs? And one, we don't have any evidence that is the case, and the trend has been that we often see investigations happen. They're tough to prove, wrongdoing, in this case civil wrongdoing.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. I mean, I get you guys going right to the heart of what the the knee-jerk public reaction might be, or the media's appetite for drama and the escalation of it. I just think that they ought to be transparent about these
certainly
things.
They could,
I
particularly in
don't see the
something
Justice
that's had a
Department.
problem.
Why wouldn't it? By the way, why wouldn't the Justice Department be inquiring when we have such a we have such a mess on our hands? And
Well,
it
if
could
you-
go either direction. It could be Deloitte that's problematic, not
Yeah.
necessarily the state of Rhode Island that's problematic. Who knows?
Well, and Tim White pointed out, if you look closely at the documents, it shows the U.S. Health and Human Services Department's Inspector General is part of what is involved in all this. That could be maybe where it began from, and they're getting help up here from the U.S. Attorney. That might remind people of the Inspector General in the HUD department that Dan's covered a lot, which spent years scrutinizing the Providence Economic Development Partnership and wound up, I believe, $2 million taxpayers have to pay in the end. So I don't want to sound like I'm downplaying it too much. I just think we really don't know a ton about what this could lead to.
In the meantime, Rhode Island's total debt is an interesting conversation. You just posted a story on the website. Total debt is how bad?
$10.5 billion without pensions, and actually $17 billion with pensions, unfunded pension liabilities. This is it's an interesting, it's definitely dry and a bit wonky. It's 130 something pages that Treasurer Magaziner's office just came out with, but it's the first debt affordability study for the state in almost 20 years. And so the board that the state has set up to try to watch over borrowing has to go through and decide, look at how much debt there is and how much is sustainable. And to me, the headlines were, there's a lot out there. The Magaziner's office, I think, so far did quite a credible job of gathering a lot more data than usual. They got the state, the quasi-public agencies like the one that owns the airport and the landfill. They got the locals. They got the fire districts. They really went all over. And they got the pension data and had Boston College do some numbers to try to compare to other states. And it looks like the state of Rhode Island is a higher debt state. But thankfully, at the moment, based on the metrics they have, is not up there with like the true basket cases like Illinois and Connecticut. But Magaziner does think they should take down the state's debt target a little bit.
Will it impact things like a McCoy Stadium bond?
Yeah. In the short term, possibly not, because it's not coming down that much. He's suggesting 7.5% of all revenue.
I mean, the politics of it. Will it
I think
change
it just.
the
I think
conversation?
I think it fuels. It will fuel public skepticism about debt. I mean, that $10.5 billion includes a tiny part. It's 38 studios, right? That's now a counted debt of the taxpayers after everything that's gone through with that. More concerning, though, I would say, though unsurprising, is what it shows in the municipal level. In Dan's world, Providence, they say that the cities and towns' debts shouldn't be more than about 6.5% of their revenue.
What's the Providence ratio?
It's what,
Nearly 20%. So more than 3 times higher. Woonsocket's even higher than that. So, people focus a lot on the state level, but the state has actually found some relief on that with pension reform.
And I always say in Providence's case, taken away, this is the first I've seen of this in having talked to Ted about it, but when you look at Providence's debt in general, every year, 25 cents out of every dollar in the budget goes to retirees, pensions, health care, and then debt that they're paying
Well,
down.
there's two different kinds of debt here that we're talking about. There's some debt that's being managed for projects and the like with a payoff, and there's cash flow, and it's being addressed and being serviced. And then there's the unfunded debt, which is it's like chasing your tail. You have no idea really what the real number is ever. It's all factored in on actuarial equations.
Yeah, there's a lot of assumptions in there. Yep.
And
well, I think
you wonder if it's a bomb that eventually will just blow.
I don't know. I mean, Mayor Taveras always used to use that stat that Dan has, saying along lines of like, when he sat down to write the budget, I think he only had 25 cents to work with out of every dollar because of that stuff, and then the schools.
And then schools.
And so there wasn't actually, you sit down, you're mayor, you feel powerful, and he would say, you look and you're like, I have so little wiggle room here even to decide what I think we should prioritize because so much is spoken for. But the longer it goes on in Providence, the more I wonder, is it going to be a bomb that explodes? I guess if there's a huge recession, the city and some others might be in deep trouble as they were last time. But if things stay somewhat stable, I think it could just be one of those that just, it's a drain and people notice it in various ways. When you drive over a very potholed street in Providence, that's because the city has spending so much money on liabilities.
The place is a pigsty. I mean, the whole place is a veritable pigsty. We don't mow the lawn on the highways other than once a year. The trash is all over Kingdom Come, and only a couple criminal crews
can I credit you? I am so in agreement when you get on your high horse about this. I couldn't agree more. It's so true.
It really is disgusting.
Yeah.
And I can't believe.
And in Providence, like we both live in Providence, the roads are rougher. Certainly go to schools here.
When I announced my candidacy for governor, it's going to be about cleaning up the streets.
I always thought Brett Smiley now has had a lot of different jobs, but when he was running,
Petco Biney's
the last thing. No,
we're going to try to get on the campaign.
We have so much oppo on you.
Really? It starts with not wearing a tie?
Yeah,
I just told me I got a break, so I knew you had a point, but since you just did that, you're done. Car tax next. Stay with us.
There's so much that's great about Rhode Island. We've got the best beaches in America, and our restaurants are better than anyone else's. But there's one thing that drives all of us crazy, and we need to fix it, and that's the car tax. Let's face it, the car tax stinks, and it needs to be cut. We can all agree on that. You deserve a car tax cut.
Yes, we do, but guess what? The car tax idea that Governor Raimondo has is oh yeah, me too, because Speaker Mattiello wanted to own this thing when he was in trouble in his race, and he wants to eliminate over 5 years. She wants to cut the vehicle value by 30%, which doesn't necessarily, by the way, translate to a 30% reduction in tax in car tax. It could be more or less if you really do the formula. But this is, she has stolen this thing from Nick Mattiello. Stolen it.
I don't know if I agree with that. The idea,
Did you see the polling data in Hassenfeld? She got 70% favorability for her idea on car tax. He got 50.
The number helped, right? To be able to say the number there, people get more concerned by
I
the
think
Mattiello
that's
number.
the innate conservatism maybe of voters who hear, take all of it away. That seems radical. You know, can we afford that? The governor has a smaller. I think they used to give Ronald Reagan lists of options, 1, 2, 3, and the one his staff wanted was the middle one, because they knew you usually pick the middle one, because you don't want to be on the extremes.
Well, that's a sales concept. Most people will buy the middle one. The point here is that why can't we just get property and car tax reform a la what Massachusetts did and call it a day, and have a fixed formula of $25 per thousand on a declining on piece of paper value of the car. It is amazing to me that we can't. What is it? What is it?
It's a lot of money. How much is it in Providence?
$30-some-odd million.
No, there's going to have to
$30
be some
32
5-year progression and holes filling and da-da-da-da, but a $60 rate for the same car, I mean, you pay 3 times the car tax for the same car in Providence that you do in my town.
Yep.
It's out. The whole thing is discombobulated.
And the Providence has many poorer people than in your town on average too, so it's actually it's regressive.
What is going to happen? Anything?
I think definitely something's going to happen. I just can't see how Nick Mattiello walks back promising so many times on your show.
But is he going to run her deal or his deal?
Well, think about it. Her deal, you know, there is clear room for compromise on her side, right? You know, the first step and a half of his proposal is the same amount of money as hers. What I'm wondering about is the level of state revenue has been ticking down, not up. And that is going to make all this stuff harder.
And in 10 seconds, are we going to get free college tuition?
I think there's still a chance. I think there's going to be some modifications, but I think you will see some form of. They'll be able to say this is free college.
You love that program.
Oh, knock it off.
You love that program.
I've come around on some parts.
You love that program.
I'm not
Will
so
it pass?
sure it'll pass. No.
No.
Mattiello still
doesn't like
seems
that
to hate
program.
it. Yeah.
Mattiello still seems to say that's true.
All right. What else?
Oh, do we have more time? I thought you
No.
were going to a commercial.
Just thought I'd say
It's
what
your
else.
show. I don't know what
I gotta go. Thank
Announce
you
the
guys.
gubernatorial campaign.
Yeah,
Let's do
well,
it now.
Oh,
Might as
now
well.
you pay
Yeah.
attention. But I have no time.
How you pay for filling the roads, Mr. York?
Time.
Yeah,
We'll be right
exactly.
back. The Hernandez drama, saga, tragedy, all of that, broken down, analyzed by Bill Reynolds of the Providence Journal. He knows the inside on a lot of these life stories in sports. There's no better guy to take a look at it, and he will Monday. Have a good weekend. Thanks.